his grandma was doing a beer bong.
It's time to take A Therapeutic Dose, a prescription-strength reality TV podcast that explores the intersection of reality TV and therapy. Possible side effects may include entertainment, strong emotional reactions, and/or laughter. Here are your hosts, Ramona Ramirez and Margie McGee.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Therapeutic Dose, where we meet at the intersection of reality TV and therapy. I am Margie McGee, and with me, as always, is my dear friend and co-host.
Hello, I am Margie's dear friend and co-host, Ramona Ramirez Higgins, and I'm also here to talk to my dear friend and co-host, you, Margie. It's very good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
Before we start, I sent you a text link earlier from page 6. It was an article saying Kyle and Amanda from Summer House are living apart. Now, for all of page 6's many faults that I would easily burn an hour listing them, TMZ, page 6, even the Daily Mail, they don't post things that aren't verified, or rarely. I understand if you're skeptical hearing me say that.
I'm not skeptical about this news item. I think it's the right thing. I hope it's true because I think they should experiment with some time apart to see if that's better for both of them. It may or may not be, but they were not thriving living under one roof. And so maybe a little break, a little change will shed some light on what the next step that's healthiest for the both of them will be.
Yes, you and I both talked about it ad nauseum when we've talked about Summer House. I feel like they haven't been a good match since they started.
I mean, I do feel like they love each other, but I think that's what's confusing, is they do seem to really love each other and not be able to live together. Kyle doesn't have the temperament to be with someone with depression, and Amanda openly talks about suffering from depression, and that is a lifelong illness that you manage, you don't cure. And if Kyle's just going to wait for her to get better, he'll always be frustrated. And Kyle, in my opinion, has some workaholism.
Oh, I think he has multiple isms.
To me, the workaholism is the most glaring because he's an entrepreneur, always stressed about Loverboy, and then decided to take on DJing 4 nights a week out of state. Like, that seems crazy for a man who says he wants a family. And you know what I mean? He's just,
I do.
Like, he's in constant motion, and it makes me feel like he's avoiding something. And I don't know if he'll use this time apart from his wife to deal with that, or if he'll use this time apart from his wife to get in motion even more.
I wonder. I've shared a few times, I don't know, in the last 6 months that I've asked Josh I've invited Josh. Let's put it like that. I've invited my husband to watch all of the back seasons of Summer House in preparation for the one that I'm assuming is going to be starting in January or February. So in a couple of months, yay, just so he can see everything. Like, usually I don't recommend that people start with earlier seasons. Like, I don't necessarily think you have to do that. If someone was to start with Orange County, season 1 of Orange County, they'd be like, what the fuck is this weird, grainy, what is Vicky wearing? Just, it's not necessary to go back that far. I feel like with Summer House, it's not necessary, but it's not a slog. It's entertaining, and I feel like it does lend background that is relevant to these recent seasons. My point being, we know that every summer Kyle misses at least one weekend in the Summer House because he's in New Hampshire for his annual family reunion. And every time they show family reunion footage, it is always based around some sort of alcohol party or alcohol things, which fine. If I didn't have alcoholism as part of my history, I probably wouldn't even blink twice. But I look at drinking, I look at grandmas doing beer bongs differently because of where I came from versus someone who maybe didn't grow up with alcoholism in their family. And his mom likes to get wasted. His grandma was doing a beer bong. Obviously, we know Kyle wants to send it every day, all day, every day. We watched a few episodes over the weekend, and I saw some family reunion footage, and I was like, man, this whole family just loves to party. And I can't say whether I have no idea if those people have substance abuse disorder, but all I know is that their drinking makes me uncomfortable. And I project a lot onto it.
I do too, but I don't know. Some families just do party and it's fine.
A 90-year-old grandma doing a beer bong while the rest of the family laughs around her. I don't find that entertaining or funny. I find it sad. And again, I am projecting. I am always projecting. This podcast is about projecting. That's it. So other people might have a different experience watching Kyle's family reunion, you know?
But I will say some families can just party. And like, that's how I came to realize that my family was different. Because when my family drank, it was with a need to, it was the only way they could, like, whatever. It had a different tenor than families that just party. So I went to school in the Midwest. I went to the University of Michigan, and tailgates are all ages, all generations doing that stuff. And that's when I noticed, I'm like, oh, these people's personalities don't change. They don't start to insult me or sexualize me or be weird. They're just drunk versions of their normal selves, So I don't know. To me, it's Kyle's workaholism that I wonder if that fuels his other addictions. Because he says he drinks to cut loose because he works so hard during the week. And I'm like, dude, work less hard during the week. And I don't know. What do I know? I shouldn't give advice to anyone.
You know a whole fucking lot, dude. You know a whole lot.
All I'm saying is it's Kyle's workaholism bothers me more than his drinking, Just because there's not as much of a personality change, but he seems to have based his whole identity on work.
Oh, yeah. See, I feel like his whole identity is about work and partying.
Probably. I mean, he works on Loverboy, which is a party. You know what I mean? So he's combined those worlds successfully. So you're probably right.
Yes. Oh, my God. But anyway, I thought that was fascinating, interesting, validating. As long as Amanda's feeling resourced and supported, I'm very happy for her. Because obviously, if they are taking a break, I imagine that there is a level of discomfort that both of them are feeling as they process it. If
awful.
Kyle is choosing, right, exactly, it's awful.
He loves her. Like, again, they might not be a match,
I
but I
agree.
think this is probably really hard. I feel
For
for
sure.
everyone.
Yeah, that's where you and I are different. I feel for Amanda.
Yeah.
I don't have patience for the other, the man child. I should. I'm sorry.
No, it's not. There's no should. None of that. I always have respect for people who mutually decide they're not a match as opposed to people who blow up their families, and that harms everyone in the family, whether you have kids or not. All people are affected by lies and deceit as opposed to the more generous version of grieving, which is telling the truth all along the way and being like, fuck, this isn't working. Fuck. It has to end, as opposed to gambling all your money away or fucking everybody in your path until someone finds out, or, so.
Yeah.
I don't know. And it's sadder. Honestly, it's sadder. I think that's what I'm feeling is like, what a change of day-to-day living for both of them. They're used to being in each other's space all the time. It must be very strange and difficult, but I'm glad they're doing it because I don't think anyone's surprised that this has happened, and we'll see.
I did something, was it yesterday or the day before? I'm not sure. I deleted the Reddit app off of my phone.
Oh my God, I want to throw you a parade.
Me too. Didn't even just remove the icon. It's all delete app or remove from home screen. I was like sweating, shaking. I'm all delete app because it wasn't feeling good anymore after spending too much time on it in one time. Like it just didn't. So now if I want to look at it, I have to look at it on my laptop or have the wildly unsatisfying experience of looking at it in a browser on my phone. And because I don't want to go through the trouble of logging in, I can't upvote anything. I can't reply to anything. So it's just not as satisfying, but it's an experiment. And I have only been doing this for 24 hours, a little over 24 hours, and I feel much better. and I get much more done. And I don't feel like doom and gloom at the end of the day. Even if I listen to the news for like half an hour, I still don't feel as badly as I do after I've spent too long on Reddit. There's joy scrolling and there's doom scrolling. And I'm in some subreddits, like I'm in the SCOTUS subreddit, I'm in the law subreddit, and those are really active right now. And it can get real depressing. And it's also an app. Their job, their sole purpose is to lock me in and make me feel like shit and keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And I don't want to do that anymore. It wasn't feeling good. I deleted it. I'm very proud of myself.
I'm
Thank
really
you.
happy
Me too.
for you. I think, yeah, I'm really happy.
One day at a time.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
again, like you said, it's an experiment. Like, yeah.
Yep.
But I think
Yep.
I'm glad to hear that.
Speaking of experiments, should we dive in?
Let's do it. Literally.
Oh my God. Yes. This is The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, season 6, episode 9, I believe. Unicorn Overboard.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. It's a title. There. It's a title. Sure.
I will say when they threw that unicorn overboard, I was fixated on like the color story, the pastel unicorn and like the topaz blue water. It was like beautiful.
It was.
I guess I was.
are loved.
Good night,
God.
baby.
Ew. Oh, vomit.
I
That
know.
man is gross. He's grody.
We've already lightly talked about it, but like I loved this episode. It was amazing. And one of my like favorite side characters was like this medley of apologetic waiters who had to keep interrupting the entire like there's 25% of this episode up top that's still on the yacht. And then the remaining 75% is all mostly in restaurants where these waiters are like, hello, I'm sorry. Here's your salad. Hello, I'm sorry. Can I get you something to drink?
God.
Rearranging bottles on the bar. Like it was just making me laugh so hard. I loved them. In the midst of some really heavy,
Holy shit.
character illuminating behavior.
Salt Lake City does not fail to deliver at least 1 to 2 bombshell episodes, impactful, entertaining, mouth open drama kind of episodes. And this is only season 6. I mean, everyone else take note. I did not see this coming. I did not see it coming. You know, previews, no previews. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah. I'm not at all surprised on where everyone falls in this. But it's so gross to watch Lisa and Meredith knowingly dig in on lies. It's just so disgusting. And to watch everyone up against them with that I've had that face before when someone's so blatantly lying to you and you're like, what are you doing? I was there. What are you even saying right now? And every single cast member, with the exception of Lisa and Meredith, had that response to Lisa and Meredith's narrative of what the hell went on. And Lisa even faltered and started to throw Meredith under the bus at the end. What a mess.
In the same scene where she lied to her husband. Who is sitting less than a foot away from her.
Just stuffing her face with McNuggets, just so agitated and ill
Holy
at
shit.
ease in her own skin.
Yeah.
Wowie.
Thank you, Bravo, for giving us an extra large episode. This was definitely worth it. No filler in this goddamn episode. Well, a little bit of filler. I don't
A little
need
bit
to
of filler
see-
at the beginning. This yoga thing, Heather sexualizes Jason as he leads
My
them in a
God.
yoga moment. And this is the morning after Brittany had revealed that it sounds like a lone TikTok account that I've never heard of. They showed it 100 times on the screen and I'd never heard of it. A lone TikTok account reported seeing Meredith's husband, Seth, in the back seat of an Uber with some other woman. That's it. And it has become and does continue to play a huge role in this episode. And Heather asked Brittany how she's feeling after sort of being accosted by Meredith the night before. And she says, I feel sunburned and I feel whiplash, if that's what you're asking. It's a disproportionate amount of pile on for doing the same thing that other ladies in this group have done, which is commenting negatively on the status of Meredith's marriage, which has been going on since season 1, hasn't it?
Yeah.
weren't people speculating? Remember, Seth was working out of town all the time, and they were like, "What the fuck is he doing out of town all the time?" She's like, "He works in Ohio, and that's fine with me." And everyone was like, "Okay." I think they have an arrangement like Whitney and Bronwyn talk about later, but they just don't want it to like, I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. And also, they kind of fueled a little bit of the speculation because we know they had issues and they weren't like super upfront about it. They danced around it themselves, and Meredith kind of like the way she communicated it to us and her confessionals and her castmates. I'm not asking her to go into like deep ass details, but I feel like we knew more about Kyle and Mauricio than we did about Seth and Meredith. So all of it's believable, and also none of it could be true. So who knows?
It does seem like they're hiding or protecting some element of something that goes on in their marriage, which is fine until you sign up for 6 seasons of a reality show. And then if you're surprised that people are speculating or curious about what's going on in the backseat of an Uber when they see your high profile husband who's been on 2 separate shows now, Next Gen NYC and Real Housewives of Salt, like you're all over the TV. So anything that you thought was going to be kept private, it's going to leak now. So her overreaction was telling.
It was. I thought so. We'll get there. I have notes on the reaction versus overreaction. Then we are in Meredith and Lisa's room. They have opted out of yoga, and they are getting their cardio in, or their morning activity in, by shit talking Brittany in just really juvenile ways. Meredith says that she thinks Brittany is disgusting, not funny, and she tries to be a Disney princess and has a pea brain. And then they both bum me the fuck out when they can't figure out something about the Wizard of Oz. I was like, ladies, are you serious? Like, who in the United States of America, Gen X or older, doesn't have the Wizard of Oz woven throughout the fabric of their entire childhoods?
I think there was a community gasp when they both agreed that the Tin Man has no brain. And if anyone is too young to know, the Tin Man has no heart. The Scarecrow has no brain. And the two of these idiots laid on the bed going like, yeah, she's the Tin Woman. I was like, you guys got it wrong, and now I can't be on your side.
I was so offended that they didn't remember. It felt arrogant to me.
They didn't even try. They were lazy. They were like,
No.
which one didn't have a brain? She's like, the Tin Man. They're like, great, that works. I'm like, but it's wrong. It doesn't work.
It's so wrong. It's so wrong. That movie it is a classic. I feel that it speaks to the beginning of cinema and what cinema was capable of and became capable of. It was one of the things that like launched the power of movies. I mean, I can feel the offensiveness in my chest right now. I physically feel how personally I am taking their lack of knowledge and reverence for this movie. It was so strange for me.
I think if they'd thought about it for 1 second, they could have come up with the right answer. But that's how lazy and dug into like just being bitchy they are.
It's just so lazy, this kind of gossip. It's lazy. Like if I did this, it would be like frosting on a cake. I'd feel sick after, but I don't think they get sick after. We're very
Clearly
different people.
not. Yeah. And then Meredith, after shit-talking Brittany, decides to villainize Whitney too, saying like, well, she knew about this and didn't bring it directly to me, so she's not my friend. I was like, oh, well, that's a really extreme definitive statement to come out of fucking nowhere. Okay.
So we head back up to the top deck, back to the yoga group. I was like, Brittany, my God. The thing is that the way Brittany is and the way Meredith and Lisa are, like all three of them should just be an ignoramus idiot trio, you know?
Team nobody.
Team nobody. You're right. You're right. That's exactly it.
Because Brittany says, I say something nice with good intentions, and it's this freaking pylon. I'm like, what did you say that was nice, and where were the good intentions? You gossiped about a TikToker exploiting adultery. Like, what are you fucking talking about, dude? I can't be on your side. You make it
Not
so
at all.
hard.
She makes it so hard. And Heather's like, girl, you need to be prepared for a mountain of pile-on if you tell someone you saw on TikTok that their husband is having an affair. And then Whitney says, really, you guys, you're ruining my zen. Lol. Brittany continues to leave me bewildered because she seems to be really confused by things that I'm fairly certain even my 9-year-old would understand and have an awareness about. I don't know if she thinks she's fooling us. Does she really believe that's where she was coming from? Is she in on it? Is she contrived and saying this shit on purpose? I'm just so grateful that I'm not like this. Or am I, because it's bothering so much? Or is it triggering my strong feeling that I get when someone thinks I'm dumb and that they can try to get one over on me?
I think Brittany is legitimately a ditz. I do think that because she does, she looks honestly confused. I don't know if she has the choice in vocabulary of what comes out of her mouth. I think she knows what she means to say, but I don't think she can often pull the words together to say it properly, as I struggle to do the same. You spot it, you got it, Margie. Anyways, Bronwyn goes to Meredith's room holding Brittany's "Goodnight, Baby, You Are Loved" unicorn. And after a brief moment of relating to one another about how Brittany was shitty to gossip about both of their marriages, because Brittany was also in on the Todd farting and making out scandal. More Todd scandal to come. I couldn't believe it. Meredith again calls Brittany a pea brain, but claims she's unbothered by Brittany talking about her marriage.
Unbothered. Okay.
So bothered.
So bothered.
I did think this was sort of foreshadowing, and a number of cast members used this language. Bronwyn said to Meredith, she's like, Brittany said that this incident was another example of Meredith going from 0 to 100 for no good reason. So here Bronwyn saying it all lighthearted, like, can you believe this bitch? She said you go from 0 to 100 with no good reason. Cut to the last 3/4 of this episode where everyone is like, she went from 0 to 300 to 100 with no good reason. So I thought that was interesting that the seed was planted in a very different tone at the top of the episode than how it comes to sprout throughout the rest of the episode.
Wow, that is such a good I love that you saw that, because my mouth fell open when you just said that out loud. She does.
And it's a pattern.
You're right.
You know, because she said another example of Meredith going 0 to 100. So like, this is absolutely something Meredith does and everyone knows it. And it just seems like this one was so over the fucking top that everyone, even knowing she's capable of this, was like, this is a new level of crazy that no one can abide by because it's getting dark.
Yeah. Wow. To have been a fly on that wall, to have been a coffee ground in that first-class cabin galley.
Ooh, I know.
Would have paid money.
How long before that flight attendant is the bartender on Watch What Happens Live?
Oh, my God. That would be amazing.
I would love it.
Yes. So Bronwyn suggests to Meredith that they toss the absurd, perverse unicorn overboard, and the only way they can pull that off is if they are in costume. You can set your clock to the fact that this woman just wants any excuse, however flimsy it is, to put on an inflatable creature. She's got a fatal attraction to those inflatables, man. It's crazy. Incognito. Here, I'm going to get into a crustacean. You're going to be a pink shark, and let's just hobble down the wood corridor and toss this plushy unicorn, Teddy Ruxpin.
I think they did. It does make me laugh. The way you have to walk in those things does make me laugh. And then when the wind kicked up, it was like flapping the material around their faces. I was laughing. And they do, in fact, throw the unicorn overboard, and it lands gloriously in a light topaz sea. So there's that.
In Meredith's confessional, she says she doesn't know if tossing Uni is payback, but it's what Britt deserves. And I've talked about this a million times. You have too. You've talked to me about it, offline, online, where it's like that insatiable desire to get payback and make someone suffer for how they've trespassed against me. It's like, I get that, but it's not the way. It'll taste delicious in the moment, and then you'll just be the person who threw a plush unicorn overboard. Now, will everyone at BravoCon this weekend be applauding Meredith if she goes for doing this? Of course. Are they going to call her icon? Are they going to call her mother? Are they going to say she ate? Yes, they are. I just find it sad. It wasn't funny or entertaining to me.
It's going to be a different story when we see the other side of this on the below deck. Because someone had to get in the goddamn water and chase that piece of shit down and pull it out of the water and hang on to it until they left. That's all I could think about. When it turned up at the end, I was like, oh, someone had to go get that? Like, fuck you guys. It's so shitty. It's not a good enough joke to put a crew member to work retrieving a stuffed unicorn from the ocean.
Jason and Daisy, Captain Jason and Daisy were on Watch What Happens Live this week. Were they on Monday night? I can't remember, but they gave their side of it, and they said that it was really a hard trip. What do they call? What is it called? A hard
Charter.
Thank you. Yes, it was a hard charter.
I mean, it was hideous watching it from this side, so I cannot imagine what it's like on their end.
They mentioned the fake blood that Heather left all over the carpet. They did too. So it wasn't just me having a big old freak out about it.
I did worry because when they leave the boat, Heather hands them an envelope, and I've watched enough Below Deck to know what like a giant tip looks like, and I was like, ooh, that looks real mid.
Maybe the bills were big.
I fucking hope so, because they put them through hell.
Yeah.
Seasickness and crushed hands and fighting around the clock. And like, oh my God.
Sexual harassment nonstop.
Oh my God. I wonder if Captain Jason finds that charming or if it's just like a waking nightmare.
Yeah. It's good. I recommend if you want something on in the background or just something to have on when you fold laundry or whatever. It was interesting. So I found it entertaining. Anyway, moving on. .org.
The ladies now all sit for breakfast, and it's silent and tense and awkward. And Whitney tries to break the ice by asking how Meredith's toe is doing. And Meredith is such a fucking dramatic asshole. She turns to Brittany in response to the question, how is your toe? She goes, I'm a survivor. I'm strong. I can deal with a lot of hatred thrown at me without a problem. And Brittany rolls her eyes, which is obviously poking the bear. So that was a bad move on her part. But then Meredith just transitions and goes, my bigger issue is with Whitney today. And I was like, oh, okay. You're fucking housewife of the day to have a problem with. Yeah. And this is because of what she brought up in that bedroom scene, saying Whitney knew about Brittany spreading this TikTok gossip, and Whitney did not come straight to Meredith to report. And then Meredith turns her back to Brittany and says she doesn't exist, and waits for Whitney to answer for her actions, saying, my point is you co-signed it and didn't tell me, and that's not what a friend does.
Meredith thinks that these zingers are landing, and they just made me pity her.
Yeah, it's sad, isn't it?
I pitied her. It's sad. It's not like fun sad. It's like, oh shit, y'all. Do you see what's going on? This woman this is not good. This is embarrassing. I felt secondhand embarrassment for her.
It's like how Stephanie on Miami has never had girlfriends. And so she had all these like rules to be a friend. And it's like, that's not fucking how friendship works. I'm having the same reaction to Meredith here, going like, this is what I expect from my friends. It's like, well, that's crazy, because that's not a real relationship. So you can hire someone to treat you like that. But if you want a real friend, it comes with mistakes, and it comes with mess, and it comes with occasional like judgment, whatever.
At the beginning of the scene, when Meredith first said that she was upset by Whitney for not bringing it to her attention, I could see that. But then when Whitney was like, dude, I told Brittany she needed to tell you about this TikTok, or I was going to.
And the third option was don't say anything because it's not true. So just don't touch it. Whitney did what a good friend would do. And I appreciated her saying, I'm giving Brittany the opportunity to do the right thing.
And then in Whitney's confessional, she says that the TikTok thing is only a big deal now because Meredith is making a big deal. Okay, I don't know what it's like to be in the public eye and be on a show that tons of people watch, and having someone say, oh, your husband is the subject of a TikTok and he's having an affair. So I don't know, like whether it's true or not, even if it's not true, I do think it's worth a freak out. I think I would freak out. For Whitney to say, I just didn't agree. I think it's messy and it's going to lead to chatter, even if it's not true. I can understand Meredith being upset. Going to where she went, absolutely not. But I didn't agree with Whitney is what I'm saying. I think it is more of a big deal than what she's saying it is. But I don't know what it's like to have someone write about me every single day. Maybe they have a different perspective on it because this happens to them. They're always in the blogs.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think what you're saying applies to season 1 Meredith Marks. Season 6 Meredith Marks, one TikTok account had one stupid ass story that stupid ass Brittany brings up, and you put all of this heat on it. You're the only reason this thing has any credit. You're the one who, whatever you focus on gets bigger. Your focus is so intensely on this that that's the only thing I can see anymore.
That's such a good point, Marky.
And she's 6 seasons in. You are written up in the press all the goddamn time. So, why is this the one that's putting you over the edge? And then Brittany starts yelling about how it's a double standard, that anyone can say all kinds of stuff about people's husband. And I say one thing that is meant to be in kindness. And everybody had the fuck face on. Come on, dude.
I had the fuck face on.
Same. And I loved, we got a little glimpse at what's going to come for us in Below Deck. We get Daisy and, oh God, I didn't write her name down, the other stewardess, talking about how loud and nuts these women are and saying I'd hate to be hungover around them because they're so loud. And you could hear them. They're somewhere deep in the bowels of the boat, and you can hear these screaming women just not eating gloriously homemade croissants and instead yelling at each other.
I want to know what a Swiss roll is. I was
think
like,
it has
what's a
cream
Swiss
and
roll?
chocolate in it. It's like a croissant with cream and chocolate.
Man, I want someone to serve me breakfast.
Like that.
Yeah. Outside with my friends.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Swiss roll, croissant.
Seems hot, though. It's hard to eat a buttery pastry when it's hot. Anyways, who cares?
Yeah. Who gives a shit, right? No one called for that.
Meredith earlier in the scene had done a hair flip where she flipped her hair into Brittany's mouth almost. It hit. There's nothing I fucking hate when people's hair hits me. It happens a lot at concerts when people are dancing around. I can get over it, but it's always kind of a little bit gross because it's ugh, those are dead cells that just sort of brushed across my mouth. So Meredith had flipped her hair with the intention and succeeding in hitting Brittany in the face earlier. And here Brittany does a retaliatory hair flip. And then we see one of these moments where Meredith's anger goes from 0 to 100 in a fucking heartbeat. She immediately turns on her, puts her finger in her face and says, if you touch me, and everybody is on high alert and starts, physically standing to pull Meredith away. So again, this is not a first-time offense. That reaction tells me that these women have seen this kind of crazy in Meredith's eyes before, and that it is unstable and unpredictable, and they need to stop this now. That was scary.
It was scary. They almost came to blows, man. And
it was Meredith. Brittany's so dumb.
Oh, yeah.
It was Meredith who turned on her and got so in her face, and all of her muscles tensed, and you could just feel some sort of smack or hit or punch forming in her body. It was a good thing that she got up and changed seats.
Which just betrays this whole lackadaisical, oh, this isn't bothering me. You're just annoying. No, she's so bothered.
She's
so
irate.
Bothered. She chooses violence, literally and figuratively.
So does Lisa. I mean, it's the same kind of reaction Lisa had when she put a hand around Heather's throat a couple episodes ago. It's what are you doing?
Yeah,
no matter how drunk or angry I get, I can't imagine. May it never happen. I don't ever want to understand.
No, me either. Me either. I really don't.
Synapse that makes that an okay choice. So Meredith has changed seats, and Bronwyn is trying to settle Brittany down, asking her to start with an apology to Meredith. And then Meredith just levels a threat to the whole table and says, I'm done with Brittany. You guys want to support her? I'll be done with you too. And I loved Heather for just being like, are you fucking kidding me? And Meredith goes, no, I'm not. And Heather tells us this is absurd. This is not fourth grade. This is not a dodgeball team. And it's very weird that Meredith is okay to move on from Lisa digging up dirt on her family, but she is unable or unwilling to apply that same principle to Brittany's stupid ass TikTok gossip. It's crazy.
I think it's because for some sick reason, Meredith respects Lisa, or she's just so afraid of her that she doesn't want to poke the bear, or they're misery loves company, or they're all of the above. And she has zero respect and nothing but contempt for Brittany. Like, no shit, Sherlock. I'm not saying anything groundbreaking. Oh, my God.
No, but I think it's true. I think Meredith and Lisa have one of those mutually assured destruction relationships where they both shared too much shit that now they can't not be friends because if one or the other pisses one or the other off, one or the other will reveal the information that they know to be true.
Oh,
you know?
God. What terrible bondage. What
It's
horrible bondage.
darkness.
For real, dude. Angie says, this made me laugh. Angie says that if we're going to support Brittany, then we need to support Gout Dick, too. Just like,
No, she said we can't support Gout Dick.
then we can't.
Yes.
Okay.
She said we can't support anyone digging up anything on anyone's family members.
I
We
don't know
can't
why
support.
I thought she was saying we need to support Gout Dick. Oh, God,
I
I'm
think
an
because
idiot.
Heather had just sort of taken up for Brittany, and Angie was like, no. We just spent 2 days saying we're not going to dig up shit on each other's families. So we can't support Brittany, just like we can't support Gout Dick. But I did love that nobody at the table broke a smile when the words Gout Dick came out with a serious tone. This is where I love fucking Housewives. It's so, where
Dude,
else?
love Housewives.
Oh, so
So
good.
Bronwyn pleads with Mary, oh my God, help out. You're a woman of God. And Mary's all, abso-fucking-lutely not. Y'all are beyond help. This is out of my jurisdiction. You guys are
And
on your own.
Mary's she's incredibly wise and centered throughout this episode and throughout this season, really. She says they're not going to listen. They're not going to listen to God if he came down and like slapped him in the face. And she says they won't listen because they're too busy trying to get their point across. It's a disaster. And that is the
God.
truth. They've all stopped listening. They're all just trying to be right. And it's so futile because everyone's trying to be right and not listening. So no one can be right because no one's listening to say, oh, yeah, you're right. You know what I mean? It's just this. This is
Oh, I
all it
do.
is. It's just a nonstop fight. Yeah.
It is infinitely more uncomfortable, like on a spectrum of uncomfortable to seemingly impossible to, instead of react with defensiveness when someone is saying something shitty to you or calling you out on something, it is so much harder to take it in and let it land than it is to just knee-jerk react. You know? No one on this boat can do that. No one can take something in. Well, maybe other people can, but not the people involved in this immediate.
It's really Meredith
fight.
and Lisa. I think we really see everyone else can to some degree or another. But Meredith and Lisa are just dug in on standing by their version of the story, which is not based in fact. And that continues throughout the episode.
I couldn't be friends with someone like that. I just couldn't do it. So thank God, I'm sure the crew is very happy that they are finally docking and these ladies are disembarking. Brittany can't find her unicorn. And Bronwyn in her confessional says, thank fucking God, I am going home on a different flight. I am so relieved. So she's not going to be on that shit show
Little
with
did
the rest
she
of the
know
ladies.
what a blessing that was.
Totally, totally.
So the ladies leave the yacht, and I love Angie. She's so sweet. She runs off the boat and hugs all of them. And she had a horrible experience. This was 2 straight days of barfing and like 1 halfway decent day of fighting. And still, she like, I really believed her when she thanked the crew. Heather, less so. She thanks the staff and semi-apologizes for all their fighting and their insane behavior and putting the staff through their paces. But she's mostly fixated still on Jason, giving him one more flirt for the road, saying, you're great on the job, by the way. And he looks like unmoved at best and uncomfortable at worst. He was like, okay.
On Watch What Happens Live, he said that they did not hook up.
I believe that.
Maybe he was, I don't know, giving some silent kind of communication that they did, but he was saying they didn't. I don't know. But that's what he said.
After watching
He said
these
there was nothing to
3
say.
episodes on the yacht, it feels like it's probably Heather. It was probably Heather doing what she's doing this whole trip of laying on him and flirting with him and pressing up against him. And then she was like, there was nothing there. We have no chemistry. And it's like, I just don't think he gave you a chance at that. I don't know if that, anyways.
Good gracious.
It's fine. It's his job.
I just mean like good gracious, like it's just uncomfortable. I'm just uncomfortable seeing, I just don't like it. Just cringe.
It would be one thing if Jason was firmly into it, but he appears to have little to absolutely no interest at all. And he refers to the ladies as nice individuals, but as a group, they're a hurricane. And then he tries to buy it back by going, but the best kind of hurricane. And it's like, oh, God, get out of here, you guys. And Heather hands off the tip that, as I said, I'm concerned about, and I can't wait to see Below Deck. God, I hope you're right. And it was just like a relatively flat envelope full of big, big, big bills.
All crew, gather in the salon for a tip meeting.
Mm-hmm. And then Daisy runs on board real quick to grab something they forgot, which is Brittany's unicorn. And then Brittany notices it's wet. And here I'm thinking this is going to be the drama for the rest of the episode. And I was like, yeah, fucking great. Bronwyn cops to throwing it overboard, and Brittany's still like butthurt. And I think it's really cruel for someone to try and ruin my gift. Jared went to great lengths and made a personal message for me in it. It's really sentimental to me.
Oh my God, Margie.
The weird whiny voice. And that was sort of the act break. And I was like, are you fucking serious? We have like a full 45 minutes more of like unicorn gate? No, I was wrong.
I thought it was lame that Bronwyn said, it was a joke and I'm sorry. Like that was so, like it wasn't a joke. It was to be a dick. And this is like the kind of sorry, like where you're like, I'm going to fucking light the bomb, throw it, and then apologize later. It was just really disingenuous. And I don't like being disappointed by Bronwyn. And that's my problem. That's on me.
It feels like it rode the line. It's a mean girl joke. It's like a prank. I hate pranks. I think because there's always someone who is in the position of being an asshole or being injured so everyone else can get a laugh. They wore inflatable costumes and they threw a stuffed doll over it. You know what I mean? It was a joke, but it's at the expense of someone. And so it's not highbrow humor, but I don't know.
That's it. It's prank energy. You're absolutely right. I don't
and
like
I hate pranks.
either.
So many people love them. Fucking ridiculousness is on TV all the time. Impractical jokers, all that shit. But someone's the butt of the joke. In this case, it was Brittany, and she's not a good butt of a joke.
This is Ridiculousness's final season, by the way.
I mean, is MTV going to survive? They air nothing else.
I think that they're going to be done soon, aren't they? Did I hear that they're going to be done?
I don't know how they can survive. The only other thing they air is The Challenge. They don't air anything.
God.
It's Ridiculousness all day, every day. And then like The Challenge and occasionally Siesta Key. And that's it.
I have seen some hilarious things on Ridiculousness. I'm not going to lie and say that I've never watched it. I have watched quite a bit with my husband when we first got together. And watching my husband laugh when he sees something hilarious makes it all worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I watch on TikTok videos of people like slipping on ice or falling down.
That. You love someone tripping.
But it's at someone's expense. Like if I knew the person, it would be harder to like laugh about. But when I don't know the man on roller skates who is stumbling for a solid 30 seconds before he completely wipes out, then I can laugh. But anyways, it was a mean girl joke, and it's not my favorite brand of humor. So there.
Brittany saying that Jared went to great lengths and made a personal message. Oh my God, woman, get some self-esteem. Go to slaw. Go to slaw. I beg of you, do something. This is pathetic and pitiful.
I've accepted crumbs before. I know where she's coming from. It feels very personal. It feels like it took time and intention. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying like, I get it, girl.
I mean, I have too, but years and years. This is like our only experience of her is seeing her accept crumbs from this super like, he's so not worth it. I don't, it's, you know what? It's because he's Mormon royalty adjacent. And these people are in a cult. Okay, moving on. I just figured it out. Oh my God. I did not figure shit out. I'm just arrogant. So then we have some dramatic ass music and just cast on top of cast confessional sharing their perspective on what happened on the plane ride home. And if any of you out there are listening and you don't happen to watch this show, you just listen because you like us, A, thank you. B, this episode you might want to tune in for because it was something. It was a great Housewives episode across all of the franchises.
Applause to the editors as well, because this whole episode is now people, it's hearsay. It's just people relaying what they saw and heard. But the editors and the cast is so strong that it makes it completely compelling. And the music. In fairness, this first sequence, that little Mormon choir is doing a lot of work with their ho ho hee hee ho ho, their suspenseful, dramatic ho ho hee hees. So Heather tells us that Meredith was out of her mind at the airport even before they got on the plane, pissed off about Brittany revealing this information about the TikTokers gossip about Seth in the back of an Uber. Angie says that Meredith's behavior made everyone uncomfortable, that she was screaming and crying and making a scene. And this was the most chilling part of Angie's confessional to me. She says, and I don't even know if Meredith was aware of that. And this is a theme where Meredith either willfully is choosing to not accept responsibility for her behavior, or she is altered in such a way by a substance or by her own fucking brain chemistry because she's a rageaholic that she's blacks out and doesn't know what the fuck she's doing. But that phrase scared the shit out of me. I don't even know if she was aware of what she was doing. I was like, what the fuck?
So part of what I love about Reddit is...
What? You just deleted it.
No, I know. Okay, let me be more specific. Part of what I love about the Bravo Real Housewives subreddit is that the speculation can get real fucking deep and people come in with their own perspectives and they project just like you and I do every week. So the people who are recovering or now sober from benzodiazepine abuse, Xanax, Ativan, whatever the other ones are, anti-anxiety meds.
Which work if taken as prescribed.
They see the people that abused benzos, that is their theory. And it's like someone says, I think it's benzos. And then it's like, same. This was me. There was a significant discussion that I saw that there was a lot of speculation that it's pills. Like since season 1, they've seen it in her. Allegedly.
I take no pleasure in that if that's true, because as we're watching in this episode, that level of addiction does not only affect the addict, it ruins the people around you.
Absolutely.
So if it is a substance, I hope she gets control of that. But no matter what it is, I also think there's a rage addiction there. Again, I don't know if she was on an anti-anxiety med at that breakfast, but I jumped when she turned on Brittany. I was scared. Like something in her is out of balance.
Agreed.
And I don't know. And Brittany tells us that she was the last to board the flight and her seat, unfortunately, happened to be right in front of Meredith and Lisa. And then we get this like amazing reenactment dramatization footage of the flight. Again, credit to the editors for making this compelling. As everyone continues to tell their stories, I was struck by how shook every single cast member looked. Like they looked traumatized. And again, they've been around Meredith for 6 years. They've seen her go off. This seemed to have a whole new heat behind it. And
I agree. And I don't think that these people are, I don't want to say smart enough, but it would take so much energy and so much planning, and it would take like a director and a stage manager and a script for all of them to come together and share the things that they're sharing. Everything they're sharing is similar, just from their perspective of where they were sitting in first class. Meredith says that if it was all so bad, what she was doing, that she would have been arrested by an air marshal upon landing. When Heather Gay was on Watch What Happens Live directly after this episode aired, Andy asked her about that, and Heather said that no one complained because the entire first-class cabin was essentially cast and production.
Of course it was. Yeah. Also, are there air marshals anymore? We don't have a government anymore. I don't think that's a thing. That is
I don't know, but
it's a government funded position. I don't think those exist right now.
Heather said that the flight attendants, it was kind of like that unspoken rule, like, well, these are celebrities acting out. And since they're all kind of like in the same group, we're just going to be like, oh, shit. Yeah. Oh, my God. I would love to know. Oh, maybe one of the flight attendants will weigh in on Reddit. Ooh.
But you
Oh,
deleted it.
That. I deleted it, but I treat myself on my laptop every once in a while. Okay. And all I do is go into the Faux Moi subreddit and the Bravo Real Housewives subreddit. That's it. I catch up a little bit and then I X out. But I no longer see the other things that I'm subscribed to, like SCOTUS and law.
I will say, do you remember on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills when all of the women they all sort of had that same traumatized look on their face after Kathy Hilton lost her shit in a club in Aspen and then went off in a Sprinter van and there were no cameras. Yes. But all of them looked equally terrified to tell the truth of what happened, but were so traumatized they couldn't do anything but tell the truth of what happened, which is like, you used a gay slur and you screamed in the van. Like, there is no other way to interpret what happened. That is so, when it's that monumental and that pronounced, that's the same feeling I got looking at these women. I was like, oh, this must have been really transformative.
Totally. It just didn't seem like something they were all agreed.
They were not
in cahoots about.
No.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's clearly Meredith and Lisa have tried to come up with this story, but like, I love Mary for saying Meredith fixated on Brittany talking about Seth and she dwelled on it and she could not come back from it. And that to me is like, that's where the chemical reaction in her brain needs some attention because that's scary. There's so much to be mad about. And if your brain chemistry won't let you back away, no wonder she was shaking chairs, pulling hair, pouring wine, screaming. Yikes. Then Lisa and Meredith turned on Whitney and grabbed her phone and said, let's see the TikTok. I want to see if it's on your phone. Then they wanted everyone's phone. And like, I can totally see this escalating. The way they told this story seemed very believable. And they all said that Lisa joined Meredith in relentlessly bullying Brittany the whole flight. And this does sound, bullying gets thrown around a lot in the housewives world, but this sounds like legitimate bullying where there's no actual physical painful contact, but there's seat shaking and verbal threats and mocking and all that stuff.
It was so gnarly.
It was. Mm-hmm. And Lisa tries to claim that she gently asked Brittany to show Meredith the TikTok, and that's it. Then I sat back. Bullshit.
Oh my God. I don't know what it would be like to be her for 5 fucking minutes.
She seems tormented.
Is disgusting.
In fairness, it's not working.
To me. She does seem tormented. You're absolutely right. Tormented is the exact word. And she's going to freak the fuck out at the feedback she's getting. And maybe if this is brought up the reunion, if I were John, I would be like, you know what, lady? I think I'm done. I think you have a real problem. And if you don't get some help for this, I got to bounce. Or maybe he's just as much of a piece of shit as she is. I don't know. But like, she's evil.
Heather alludes to it later that Meredith and Lisa, when they get together, they feed off each other's energy and just get high off of hurting someone else, you know? And we find out that at the end of this 15-hour flight of being the target of these two women, Brittany was finally reduced to tears, like, of fucking course. And then Meredith claims in her confessional that she never spoke to Brittany, that she was only venting to Lisa for like 10 minutes before the flight touched down. And that's when she claims, like, if it went down like everyone said, I would have been arrested by an air marshal. Yeah, I noted like surely the whole first class with Bravo cast and crew, and I'm sure she would flare up, they would rein her in, she would flare up, they would rein her in. I'm sure that was how this all went.
Wow. 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 So they're back in Salt Lake City 2 days later. Mary and Bronwyn are at lunch. Mary tells Bronwyn, girl, you are so fucking lucky you weren't on this plane with them. Tells her everything that happened. They both agree that Brittany is controversial and they have their own respective issues with her, but this is too far. And Mary just says there's right and there's wrong, and this is wrong.
Yeah. And she called the events of the airport and the flights pure chaos, which again just sounds frightening. It just
It
sounds
does.
out of control.
It does.
Then we are with Whitney and Justin on the golf course for a beat where Whitney says, what I witnessed in the plane was the most unhinged, vulgar. Meredith lost her freaking mind. And then we hit the drive-through with Lisa and John, where Lisa is slamming those McNuggets, claiming she's never seen Meredith so upset in her life, and then just absolving herself, claiming she didn't say anything to Brittany. So
she lists every single thing Meredith did. John asks her point blank, but you weren't saying anything to Brittany. And instead of looking him in the eye, she looks down at her nugget sauce and says, I would never. God, what a diabolical. She is. She's tortured. And I can't imagine. I can't fathom it. Oof. Ugly on the inside.
yeah.
Heather and Brittany go to lunch, and Brittany is not doing well. She's been crying. She's not really wearing makeup. She says she hasn't really slept. She hasn't really eaten. And she still kind of seems like she's smiling, though, which struck me as odd. And then it hit me like a ton of bricks, like a bolt from the sky of lightning. It is her fucking Botox, dude. It's her Botox that is preventing her from any expression other than kind of looking like a dim-witted mannequin. She has Botox in her DAOs, which is going to help her from having, from frowning. And so it's going to look like she's kind of smiling. And her injector is so heavy-handed with the forehead stuff that she's completely frozen. My injector is an osteopath, and she never freezes me. She's very familiar with the muscles of the body, including on the face. She softens me. She makes me look rested. But Brittany looks like she's in on her own joke all the time. And I think it's Botox, dude. Cautionary tale on how not to live psychically in the world, and cautionary tale with you need an injector who's going to say when they should say when. IMHO.
I do believe she's genuinely traumatized, though. I think part of the dim-witted doll look is like, I don't know what to do, and I haven't slept or eaten, and I don't know what to do. Like,
no, I
can't
agree.
Have 15 hours of having your chair kicked and shoved, and people talk about you and spilling on you and pulling on your hair. Like, I think I would be like, what the fuck is happening? I thought the unicorn going overboard was the worst thing I'd have to deal with. Like, I mentioned a TikToker spreading a rumor, and this is holy fucking shit. Like, it's like a Mad Lib to try and like piece together how this could be reality, that two women could spend 15 hours of their lives trying to destroy you and kind of succeeding. I don't know. I agree.
I agree
awful.
with that. I do agree that she is feeling traumatized, and I do believe that she does look shell-shocked. But what I'm saying is that
it's supported by her.
It's yes, like the fact that she always looks kind of like detached. I don't think it's because I think that she might be detached to a degree, but I think the other part is neurotoxins. I do. And I felt kind of proud of myself for having that realization, or that like, oh, I wonder if that's part of the story. Who gives a shit? My God. I don't feel great about the fact that I thought that. I was just like, oh, I wonder if that's part of it.
It's probably a contributing factor. There's a lot of injectables in this cast.
I've spent too much time talking about this. I'm sorry.
It's fine. I did appreciate Heather, and I just can't get a read on her this season. I don't know how much is sincere and how much is her calculating what's going to make her as much of a hero of the season as she can manage to be. But she does clearly state that nothing justifies Meredith and Lisa's behavior. Their bullying feeds off each other. And she tells Brittany that she fell asleep to them bullying and 4 hours later woke up to them bullying. And Brittany, this kind of broke my heart. She said that she was embarrassed that she broke down crying. And she said, I didn't want them to know they broke me. And I'm like, after 15 hours of anything, I'll break down crying after 15 hours at Disneyland, which is the happiest place on earth. At a certain point, you're just exhausted.
Yeah, I understand that impetus as well. It's like, I'm not going to give you what you want. I'm not going to let you see that you're breaking me. I'm not going to do it. And then you do, and you're just like, fuck, they won. I mean, I know they didn't win. I know in the cosmic scoreboard, they're not winners. But I'm just saying my ego would say they won.
Of course.
You know,
and I did think Brittany made a good point that she was most offended by Lisa turning on her after she has actively defended Lisa to this group. And we get a flashback on tape of Brittany defending Lisa for not being at that opening camping trip. And, you know, and she's like kind of extra bummed out that Lisa not only egged Meredith on, but participated in the bullying, kicking Brittany's seat, telling her she deserved everything she was getting. And Heather answers that by saying Brittany deserves support and dignity and protection. And if those women can't apologize and offer that, then they don't deserve Brittany's friendship and they don't deserve Heather's friendship either. And they've officially taken it too far. They've crossed the line of right and wrong. And Heather declares that she is on Brittany's side now, period. And that's a pretty big statement for a housewife. Normally they ride the fence, and Heather was just like, nah.
And I really bought it as well.
So gross. It must have been so bad for a housewife to not ride the fence. It must have been so egregious.
I mean, the entire cast was not, they weren't like, well, I wonder if maybe Meredith was, oh, Lisa,
let's hear what they have to say.
Exactly. There was no both sides.
That's absolutely unacceptable in every way.
Brittany is aligning herself with an unclever Lucy Van Pelt, an uninspired Lucy Van Pelt by riding so hard for Lisa fucking Barlow. It is sad. And it's the same thing with like going for crumbs with Jared, going for crumbs with Lisa, like wanting these two people's approval and love more than anybody else's. And I'm just like, I feel so, I pity her. That's what it is. I have pity.
I mean, there's a pattern to her damage, man.
That's what I'm saying. Thank you.
She absolutely tries to win the affection of people who have none for her.
Thank you, Margie.
If a therapist can get their hands on her, she's a pretty straightforward case. You know, it would take a lot of work,
yes,
but like
that's
her pattern is clear.
Yes, so clear. That's exactly. You said it much more eloquently than I did. So Bronwyn and Whitney, we now see their respective lunch scene, and Whitney fills Bronwyn in on the flight, even though Mary has also told Bronwyn about the flight. But to be fair, I'd want to hear it from literally every fucking person that was on that plane, including the flight attendants and the people having to be sitting, in coach the first few rows back from first class.
It makes me believe how traumatized the women on the flight were. Mary sat down for 3 separate lunches, and I think the first 2 were to process it, and the third one was with Meredith. Like, that's how fucking fucked up whatever happened on that plane was. That like, I need to talk through this some more.
Yeah, dude,
like,
seriously.
Did that happen? It's like, wow. It's almost like they're in a dissociative state to be like, here's what I think definitely happened, and I can't believe I lived it.
Like, am I crazy? Like, am I second guessing or am I imagining that this happened and it really didn't? And you're getting validation from the other people that were there sharing that experience with you. Like, no, dude, we were all there and none of us are crazy. We all saw it.
Yeah.
The waiter that is helping them out is wearing some sort of like wannabe SF hipster doofus apron over his prerequisite standard issue Mormon missionary shirt and tie combo. And I found it very annoying.
Take it to the manager, Ramona. I was a waiter. You wear what you're given and you just try to get out with your big tips, you know?
I know, but I can't stand like the real SF hipster doofus aprons that look like that. I think I've talked about that before. I don't want to
Yes.
sit at a wood fucking farm table with a bunch of other people and have a cloth napkin that doesn't absorb anything. But the white shirt and the black tie, it was just like, hello, knock, 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 hello. Can I tell you about whatever I don't know what they call it. Do they say the good word? Joseph Smith, some shit. It was just really, it took me out of the moment. So Whitney tells Bronwyn what she saw from her perspective, and it matches everything that Mary's saying. Meredith went ham. Lisa was also just completely on board with it the entire flight. Whitney also speculates about, was it alcohol? Was it sleeping pills?
She says, I don't know what it was fueled by, but it was pure rage. Again, I believe that. In this case, I don't think that's hyperbole. It sounds terrifying. And to be trapped in a fucking tube 30,000 feet in the sky with someone experiencing pure rage would be traumatizing. Again, I can't stop using that word. There was another interesting piece here where Mary said that Meredith tried to turn Mary against Brittany and that Mary was not having any of that. It just seems like Meredith is like deeply manipulative and not very good at it. In this episode, her attempts to manipulate are just bullying. That's her method of manipulation, is bullying, and it does not work on Mary because Mary's real clear about what happened, what she witnessed, and she's not about to turn on Brittany when Meredith is being an absolute raging asshole, literally raging asshole. But like, that's how desperate and deep in this Meredith is that she's like trying to like garner allies for her fucking psycho behavior.
Bronwyn has a confessional and she says, is this being exaggerated? Because if it was this bad, where was the cell phone footage? Behavior like this wouldn't fly on a commercial flight. And again, I would like to remind everybody what Heather Gay said on Watch What Happens Live. The first class cabin was basically everyone Bravo related. And so that's why.
Yeah. And I also think it's one of those things, again, looking at the dissociated, glazed over look in all of these women's eyes, I don't think you're meant to believe it unless you were there. It seems like it was that unhinged and crazy. None of them seem to be able to articulate how psycho it was because they're all just like, And then Bronwyn says, apparently both Meredith and Todd need a reminder of flight etiquette, which made me think of Stephanie from Miami's Jetiquette.
Oh, my God.
And Bronwyn tells us that Twitter has blown up with news of Todd getting caught on a plane, cheating on her by looking at photos of other women. Bronwyn believes the story. And I loved in her confessional, she goes, I believe these reports and I suggested, you know what, I'm not going to say it cute. I told Todd to go stay at a hotel and leave for his business trip from there because she needs space. And then she clarifies that she's not mad that he did that. It's not about him cheating or looking at photos. The humiliation is in the secretive nature of his behavior. She's mad that he didn't tell her that this is what he was up to. And then they get into this fascinating, relevant conversation about the parameters of their marriage. And he's old. She's fine with having an arrangement where both of them can find sexual satisfaction, but they need to communicate about it, and leaving her in the dark plays her for a fool. And that is what pissed her off. And she wants to evolve with Todd, but she needs him to evolve with her in this marriage.
I loved this scene so much. This to me was the power of two or more people sharing their honest experiences that happen to be similar, and how validating and profound it can be to be understood and to not feel as lonely or as isolated in whatever you're going through. She tells Whitney she doesn't know if she could say this to anybody else in the cast, but she knew in her gut that Whitney would understand. They're the same age. They're both married to older men. And of their whole group, they're the ones that are most out of Mormonism. And to piggyback on her wanting Todd to evolve, and them to evolve together, I thought, all right, there's a way to do that. I know of a way to do that. Okay, I can't say I know definitively what could do that. What I can say is I wonder if they could find mutual and individual evolution by going to therapy by themselves as a couple, and then after a while, introducing some consciousness expanding medicines that dissolve one's ego, help you get in touch with your true self and recognize your partner's true self, and then move from there while healing. I bet Bron would be down with some consciousness expanding medicines. I wonder if Todd would be too. I wonder. Just curious.
With or without the consciousness expanding medicine, Whitney says just that she and Justin went to therapy because there was a distance in their marriage. And she tells Bronwyn she's been through the same thing with Justin. They broached the topic of possibly exploring an unconventional non-monogamous union, but they set parameters that they cannot do anything behind each other's back. They have to communicate who's doing what with whom. And Whitney says they've been married 15 years and her daughter is 17, I guess, or when her daughter is 17. Something about her daughter's age is an outside parameter of Whitney planning to go buck wild. Like once the kid is out of the house, she's like, I'm going to do what I want. And she says, I don't want to be married to anyone else, but you have to live your life. Yeah.
I thought it was a lovely, honest conversation that I can imagine would be hard for a lot of couples out there to bring up.
I do worry about her kids seeing this. It feels like this would be
Yeah,
a
I
little
can
bit
understand that.
destabilizing for a teenager to watch their mom being like, once again, like Heather, as soon as that brat's out of here, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want, blow up my marriage. Like that's how a teenager would probably hear that. But again, I did appreciate Whitney saying that she and Justin had been to therapy, and what they discovered is that they were missing each other in their own relationship. And so it doesn't sound like they've explored outside of their relationship yet. It remains on the table. But yeah, therapy.
Therapy.
Period.
Absolutely.
Everybody
having
go.
those conversations that you think there is absolutely no way my relationship can withstand this. And lo and behold, you realize it can. It can. Or if it doesn't, I guess you move on from there. But both are possible. Anyway, we move on to Angie having a conversation with her daughter, Electra. And I found this scene to be very heartfelt, sweet, honest. It was relatable, made me uncomfortable at times. I found myself feeling similarly to Angie, and also have had conversations with Leo like this, wanting to impress upon your child how important the culture or cultures you come from are in informing who you are as a person, and not necessarily being ingratiated in that culture for whatever circumstance. And while I have not been met with resistance, Electra is a teenager. Teenagers by nature resist what their parents say. And also, I remember myself hearing my dad say similar things and me just kind of like rolling my eyes on the inside. And also now that I'm the adult, completely co-signing on what Angie said. When I was your age, I felt and reacted the same way you are right now. But I promise you, when you're a grown-up, you're going to be so glad that you did explore your culture. I promise you that. And I absolutely agree with Angie on this. And it is what I endeavor to do with my own kid and try my hardest to do. And I'm figuring it out myself.
Yeah, and just for context, Angie tells Electra that she's pursuing dual citizenship in Greece, and she's trying to get Electra to appreciate her Greek heritage. By this suggestion was like a little bit grandiose, saying that she would like Electra to compete in whatever her equestrian event is in the Olympics for Greece. And I was like, well, that's a pretty extreme on-ramp to have this conversation with your daughter.
I was so offended when Angie said something along the lines of Greece being the start of civilization.
She said it's an honor to have roots in a country that started civilization.
Bitch, It did not start civilization in the rest of the fucking world. And this is what pisses me off. I remember being in high school reading about I think one of my books was like the history of Western civilization. Did it include my goddamn heritage on one half my family? No, it didn't. Did that civilization come up with the fucking concept of zero? You fucking better believe it did. So this white-centered, colonialist, imperialist version of the beginning of shit really pisses me off. It was the beginning of that civilization, a white civilization, but there were some other fucking big-ass impactful civilizations going on before that civilization started. I'd tell it to her face. I'm heated. I'm literally heated. I'm angry. Kind of on the verge of tears. I'm done, Margie. I'm done.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. However misguided, Angie does have a lot of Greek pride, you know?
She does. And I love
I
that
don't
for
know,
her.
I don't know if she's aware. I don't think she would fight you on this. I think she would hear you out. I don't think she's aware of like Mayan and Aztec history. It wasn't taught to our generation. I'm only aware because I've traveled, you know, like that's the only place I learned. But you are right. You're right. It is not exclusive to the Greek culture. Civilization.
No.
I did find it interesting, but I think what her point was less about civilization and more about her father he had nothing. He did not have shoes. And now her daughter is riding a horse that costs as much as a Porsche, which floored Electra. She was like, say what? Like she clearly has no understanding of money. And that's great. Kids shouldn't have to know all of that. But I think Angie's really aware of how brave her dad was to make this move and how much it has afforded their family. And she's concerned that Electra doesn't have the same respect for what has been afforded to her because her dad left this place with no shoes, survived there with no shoes, came here, and now she rides a Porsche horse, you know? And Electra, very honestly, this made me hopeful for their mother-daughter relationship because Electra's honest with her. She doesn't try to please her. She just said, look, Dad, I relate more to his side of the family. His family are horse trainers, and she can only offer that maybe in the future she'll appreciate her mom's heritage. And then we get what did break my heart, you know, as you were just getting tearful, Angie was getting tearful in her confessional, saying, I just want to share why this is really special to me. I will just remind Angie that any mother trying to share something special to them with a teenage daughter, wait till she's 20. She's in no mood for you, even if you're right, even if it will touch every part of her soul and shape her as a human being. Your 16-year-old daughter will give you nothing. It's our whole mission in life at that age, just to be like, not what you said.
It's biology. It's how they separate themselves. It's how they are moving towards leaving the proverbial nest. This is just how they are wired at that stage
Angie's
in their life.
Like lovely and patient with her daughter's total disinterest in her heritage. I liked how she talked to her daughter like an adult. I like how she expressed herself and respected her daughter's opinions. And like you said, shared with her at your age, I was annoyed by this stuff too. And Angie hopes Electra will come around and take an interest in her Greek heritage, but that's the end of it. She's hoping for that. She's not expecting it, putting anything on her.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of lovely.
I loved it. I loved this scene. I loved it. Oi, yoy, yoy. Oi, yoy, yoy. This scene was something else.
Heather and
Lisa. So they go to their own lunch to download the events that happened on the plane. Heather arrived at 11:10 and Lisa arrived at 12:26, an hour and 16 minutes late for this lunch. How fucking arrogant is that?
And to come in and just start talking about the weather. She's like, I didn't know it was hot or cold today. And Heather was like, uh-huh.
Coping skills. She knows what's coming. She knows. She sucks. Lisa orders beignets to compare them to the ones served at her lounge.
What is her lounge?
Okay, she doesn't have a fucking lounge. I Googled this a little bit because
Okay.
I
I was
yeah,
like, what is she fucking talking about?
when were they? They showed the premiere Vita Tequila Lounge in Park City a couple episodes back, and so I Googled it, and it looks like it might be sponsored by Vita, but it's not exactly. Like, I have a feeling it's like rotating sponsors. There's this one event space next door to a fucking Kimosabi. Oh God. The sponsor is Vita Tequila. I don't know who it is like right this second, but that's what it is. It's a Vita Tequila like event space.
So they
And
serve tequila and
her lounge.
beignets?
I don't fucking know. I don't have any idea.
I like
don't
both
know.
of those things separately, but together, barf.
Yeah. So Lisa claims she was trying to soothe Meredith on the plane, but it didn't work.
Yeah, and Heather looks taken aback by that characterization because soothing does not align with bullying. And so Heather just says, I kind of want to talk about the whole thing because Brittany now does not want to be around Lisa. And this is where Lisa clutches her pearls and lies about her involvement in the whole thing. And Heather calls her out and was like, I was there. Don't tell me I didn't see and hear what I saw and heard. You were egging Meredith on, and you were antagonizing Brittany. You were a part of it. And Lisa's response / explanation is, I was preserving my peace. I'm like, what? You just said you were soothing Meredith. Now you're saying this like total Melba toast, like is on, like a wood grain board at Home Goods. I was preserving my peace. What the fuck are you talking about?
It was like the most unnatural sentence to ever come out of Lisa Barlow's mouth, preserving my peace. Yeah, you're right. She read that somewhere. She heard someone say it. Oh my God, you know what I bet she did, Margie? I bet she heard some dumbass on fucking Instagram or TikTok use the term preserving my peace. And she was like, yeah, I'm going to preserve my peace.
It just made absolutely no sense, especially, again, having heard the heights that this fight escalated to, for her to be like, there was no peace. There was no peace in those 15 hours. So that's insane. Heather says she doesn't get why someone should be punished for not doing what Lisa wants them to do. And then Lisa's out. So she like crosses her arms and she takes on this defensive posture, and her tone is all defensive. And the conversation should have ended there because there was no more listening to be done. It was just Lisa being like, you know how Wonder Woman used to put up her like bracelets to deflect bullets? She's not going to listen to anything. She's just like, not that. I didn't do that. And she denies all of the facts of the event that Heather was there to observe and is relaying to her. And it's just full gaslighting. And then Lisa has the audacity to say Brittany needs to take accountability. And again, I'm no fan of Brittany, but like, after harassing her for 15 hours, you don't get to demand anything from her. You have now moved her into the victim role, and that's on you. She doesn't need to be accountable for anything anymore. Before the 15 hours, maybe, but now definitely not.
Does Lisa sleep at night, do you think, or does she lay awake ruminating over what she's done or her perceived trespasses from other people? I can't imagine that she has a moment of peace ever.
I don't know what mental gymnastics she does to lay her head down on a pillow at night. But yeah, she's real committed to calling everyone else fucking bitches and shirking all responsibility. And Heather tells Lisa that she's trying to be a good friend to her right now. She says, this is a crisis. This is a problem. And again, it's just driving home how severe whatever happened on that plane was. The word crisis, I don't think I've ever heard in a Housewives episode, And Lisa claims she's been a good friend to Brittany and Brittany's been a good friend to her. But I draw the line when it comes to Meredith and her marriage. And really?
Yeah. Full hip.
We just heard that you were digging up information on her family this season, not to mention the hot mic moment when you revealed she fucked half of New York a couple seasons ago. Like, what do you mean there is no line? You don't have a crayon to draw with, you psycho. Like, what are you fucking talking about?
Not even one, not even half a line, not even a fucking M dash, man. Nothing. No underscore, nothing. Ay, ay, ay. So Lisa says, this conversation is over. And Heather's all, I waited over an hour to be called a bitch and be gaslit. Fuck. And then Heather says, she is trying to change our reality. It's dismissive and it's demeaning. And it's true when someone is gaslighting you, when they're trying to change the reality, it is such a disorienting, bewildering feeling. You're walking on quicksand. You're looking over your shoulder like, am I crazy? Oh, it's abuse. It's abuse what Lisa's doing. It's a form of abuse what Lisa is doing.
It is, except in this case, both Lisa and Meredith try to gaslight everyone they sit down with. But in this case, it seems like whatever happened was so extreme, they cannot penetrate. They cannot do it. It's just like, it was so intensely bad that there's no world where you're going to even get me to wonder, did I experience that? It's like, it's burned in my brain for eternity. So good luck. And then Heather tries to explain to Lisa how bad Brittany is hurting right now. She says she is destroyed. And no matter what your intentions were, you should be horrified that she is afraid to be around you. And Lisa then turns on Meredith and saying, well, Brittany's upset with the wrong person.
If someone told me I should be horrified that someone is afraid to be around me, I would literally want to vaporize into a pile of tissue.
I would be horrified if someone was afraid to be around me. Oh my God. And she's not even, it was Meredith's issue. So the fact that Lisa, her henchman, Brittany's afraid to not want to be around her. Anyways.
Jesus Christ. Oh, and then we cap off the episode with Meredith and Mary meeting for lunch to discuss what went down. And Mary is immediately disturbed by Meredith's huge smile and declaration that she feels pretty good.
It's so crazy.
Shit. The disconnect, cognitive dissonance.
Yes. And just the hope/belief that she can, la-di-da her way out of this because it wasn't on camera it's, again, extreme.
Extreme.
And this is, again, Mary brings it home saying she's known Meredith quite some time now. And I know you get angry and you go off and lose it. This was different. And I think this is Mary actually trying to get through to Meredith. And Mary is now very close to addiction. And so I wonder if she's recognizing some signals that are disconcerting. And Meredith has an opportunity to listen to a friend using really gentle language to try and help her see that something is going in a dark direction here. Because she's like, you always go off. You always get angry. We're used to that. We get it. It's not my favorite, but we've seen it before. This was not that. This was way worse, markedly progressed and terrible. Yeah. And then Meredith does her version of trying to gaslight. And she says, what is it that you think happened? And Mary just goes, I don't think. I was there. And Meredith continues to try to say that nothing dramatic happened, that she just vented to a friend. She didn't even talk to Brittany. And you can see all over Mary's face, like, what the fuck are you doing? You're just lying. And Mary, again, gently tries to ease into it, saying, like, it went on for a minute. And Meredith tries to cap it at it was 15 minutes. And Mary, in this horror movie disturbing whisper, goes like, no, Meredith. And Meredith insists it's 15 minutes. And then I think this was another big moment where Mary said, I feel a little concerned because I feel like it was longer than you remember. And this is the second person who has hinted at a possible blackout. And again, whether it's drugs, alcohol, rage, brain chemistry, something switched, something hulked out in Meredith. And I can see, I think Meredith knows it and she's just trying to keep it off camera. And I'm scared for everybody.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. After Mary says, I feel concerned because I feel like it was longer than you remember, Meredith aggressively accounts for all her time. I watched 2 movies and slept for over an hour. And in her confessional, Mary says, I don't understand why Meredith is coming up with a different story than what really happened. I was there in the flesh. I've seen it with my own eyes. I heard it with my own ears.
Yeah. And I just like wrote all of these exchanges out because I found them so chilling and terrifying. Meredith said, anyone who's telling you anything different. And Mary goes, no one can tell me anything. I was there. And Meredith goes, and the whole time she's keeping this like creepy ass eye contact with her. And she's like, you were sleeping for most of the flight, trying to like hypnotize her. I don't know what the fuck she's doing. And Mary just keeps answering back. But every time I woke up, I heard you. And Meredith goes, that's impossible. You were across the plane. And they throw up a seating chart. We've all, if you haven't sat in first class, you've walked past it. Across the plane is not a thing. There's an aisle, which is as big as, a thin person's hips. So that if that's across the plane, we've lost our understanding of depth perception.
Seriously. And also, Heather also said that when she would fall asleep and wake up, that was what she fell asleep to, was Lisa and Meredith harassing and bullying Brittany. And when she woke up, that's what she woke up to. So this is the second cast member telling her this. Shit.
And Mary is so gentle. She says, do you remember Whitney asking you to be quiet because people are complaining? And then this is where Meredith, again, repeats the defense we heard earlier in the episode. So obviously this is a rehearsed answer where she says, well, it couldn't have been that bad because an air marshal would have arrested me if it had really gone that far, if anyone had complained. And Meredith says this is being spun into something it's not. And Mary just again says, Meredith, we were all there. I was there. It concerns me because I want you to remember what happened. And again, it's like such lovely language Mary is using to try and invite Meredith to look at this terrifying behavior. And Meredith says, I do remember what happened. And Mary says, I really feel like you don't. And I'm not saying that in an attack way. I was concerned. And then Meredith in her confessional, in a very unconvincing confessional, says Mary couldn't have heard anything. And then she cites, Lisa was sitting next to her and would vouch for that.
Dude.
It just is a mess.
Oh, okay. That's a good person to back you up. Lisa.
And it's just so obvious that the two of them have created a story that they're going to try and sell. And this incident was so terrible that nobody has any bandwidth to be gaslit. It was too traumatic. So Mary urges Meredith to apologize to Brittany, and Meredith leans in and stares at her and goes, is that really what you think I should do? And Mary says, yes, for your wellness,
or
again,
your wellness.
Such a lovely way to put it.
And that's the truth. That's what you remind me of. Your wellness, Ramona. It's you that will benefit from this. It's you. You will have peace in your soul. You will have peace in your soul. Mm-hmm.
Well, and you can see in this scene how little peace Meredith has. She is so agitated, even though she's trying to present breezy. You can feel the tension in her whole fucking body. Just trying to get past this. Let's not talk about it. What you're saying is a lie. That is not what happened. Couldn't have happened, or I would have been arrested. So, haha, right? It's just like all of this gotcha energy as opposed to any relaxed acceptance of reality. Whether she wants to change how she behaves or not is not even relevant. And that's sort of what Mary says in her closing confessional. She says, moving forward with this group and not being able to take accountability for nothing, that's going to be hard. You will never grow. You will never evolve like that, ever. And this is why Mary leads a church, because that was a whole sermon.
Yeah, and she's right. I don't argue with anything that she just said. I agree with it completely.
And she looks bothered and disturbed by it. She sees the humanity in this woman and she sees it fading away. And it will atrophy and die if she doesn't change something.
Yeah, she's not like pointing out Meredith's flaws to like prove how Meredith is wrong. She is imploring her, there's another way. You will never grow, you will never evolve. That's a pretty deep way to frame all of this. This is going to hurt your insides. This is not about your ego. This is not about you apologizing to somebody else or even taking responsibility. It's about sitting with what you did and asking yourself why,
Yeah.
you know?
And that while the other women are very fixated on right and wrong, I love Mary because she opened most of her sentences saying, I'm concerned. I'm concerned. I'm concerned that you don't remember what you did. I'm concerned that you're not taking accountability. I'm concerned. And to me, that language signals something different than like what you did was wrong. What you did has me like freaked out about being around you because you don't seem to have a grasp on reality. And
Yeah.
I don't want to be around someone who is capable of detaching from reality.
And I'm projecting onto Mary right now. I am projecting, but Mary has a son addicted to uh, benzodiazepines,
Lots of
muscle
things, yeah.
lots of things, right? And I wouldn't be surprised if Mary is recognizing things in Meredith that she recognizes in Robert Jr. Projecting 100%.
No, I don't disagree. And I think that's why her tone was so gentle because she knows that it's
Yeah,
an addiction.
exactly.
If you're
Yes.
locked in an addiction, it's not your fucking fault. But the only way out is to acknowledge that something is not, this isn't the person you're meant to be. This isn't the most fully realized version of yourself. And if you're finally at a place where you're uncomfortable enough to change something, that would be great. And if not, then it sounds like Mary's ready to walk, and I don't blame her. It's really scary to be around someone in active illness, addiction, whatever,
Whatever. Totally.
who's in total aggressive denial. Just like, that's not what happened. I didn't do that. Nope, you're wrong. You're wrong. You were asleep, honey. You don't know anything. You were all the way across the plane. You were 2.5 feet away from me. How could you hear anything? It's like, it's so bonkers.
It's so
It's really
bonkers.
scary.
Oh, I can't wait for next week, but this was one for the ages. This was
Holy
a
shit.
Hall of Fame episode.
So unexpected and so
completely.
The new Todd information, like all of it. I was
Yeah,
just like,
all of it.
what?
Yeah. Yeah. It was excellent episode. Friend, what else did you watch this week?
I watched the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony on Disney Plus because I love Outkast. They're sort of the rap group that put the South on the map. And so I wanted to see their induction, which was incredible. And the White Stripes were inducted, Cyndi Lauper, Soundgarden. Anyways, it was a great class and it's on Disney Plus. And if you have 5 hours to spare, I don't know, it was a million years long. It was so long, but the Outkast segment was great and worth watching. I started watching Selling Sunset. The new season is out and it's amazing because it opens with this very dramatic, devastating reminder of like a large portion of this series was shot before the fires devastated Los Angeles and various communities in the county. And then we immediately dive into just like people fixated on frivolous bullshit. And I was like, yay, like nothing's changed. So great. Thank you, Selling Sunset. And then I started watching this show called Pluribus on Apple, which is the new Vince Gilligan show. I've only watched the first episode, which I thought was spooky and really well written and really well cast and acted. I love the first episode. I've shared this with some people who've then said, prepare to be disappointed. And I was like, aw. But the pilot episode was great. So that was fun. I guess the rest of the series is kind of a letdown, but I'll give it a try. But the pilot was great. It's rare to see a great pilot. So I'm happy for that, even if the rest of the season isn't fabulous. But Vince Gilligan's pretty great. He might just have a sleeper episode or two up front, and then it will find its way to having meaning down the line. I'm not giving up on Pluribus. I'm just saying. How about you? What did you watch this week?
I binged Selling Sunset. I'm done. In fact, after we're done recording tonight, I'm going to go upstairs and dial up the reunion.
Oh my God, the reunion's already? Oh, I got to get
The reunion's
through it.
already up. Yes, yes. I have to say I felt strange. I felt strange in my soul watching such opulence and over-the-topness in the timeline that we're in, specifically right now this week for the last 43 days. And it made me think of something that my therapist tells me, that me feeling guilty for doing something, like beating myself up for watching Selling Sunset, which I would watch regardless of what timeline I'm in because I enjoy it and reality TV brings me pleasure. I like looking at the clothes. I like looking at a city that I adore. It's therapeutic for me. It's an escape, for Christ's sake. And I heard her tell me that me watching Selling Sunset is not going to, or not watching Selling Sunset is not going to change what's going on. And I'm not being cavalier about it or looking for a loophole. It was just something that I experienced. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So I watched that. I watched the Orange County reunion, the first installment, Potomac, and Old Roni. Dorinda is something else, man. She is the queen of pointing a finger and having four pointing back. It's just wild. It's staggering. It's staggering. And to watch it like episode after episode, instead of just like one per week, it's just like, holy shit, how do you not see yourself? Just like Lisa. How can you be so disconnected from your behavior and the way it affects other people? It's wild. Anyway, that's what I watched.
Yeah, she's another one who gets so angry, anyone who
my
gets like
God.
that angry when they have something to say, it's like, you're not saying this in a very measured way, which makes me wonder if something else is going on for you.
Yeah. Yes, I can relate to that. I can
Yeah.
relate to that. Mm-hmm. And friend, what was your antidepressant this week?
My antidepressant, I shared this with you earlier. There's in 12-step rooms, there's something called a 90 and 90, where you go to 90 meetings in 90 days. And the last 3 months have involved a couple of pretty massive transitions in my life. And so I took on this 90 and 90 to kind of create a little cozy bridge around sort of like retiring parts of my identity, over the course of the last few months. And I finished it. I finished my 90 and 90, and I did it at an in-person meeting, and like connecting with other human beings in person has been invaluable, because in 12-step rooms, you're there for 1 hour and you don't know anyone's last name. So you can share the truest, most vulnerable shit and just get it out and get support if you want it, feedback if you want it, or just walk out of the room and leave it, and it has been vital to this, season in my life. And it also helped. I too, as much as I make fun of these housewives, I have a running narrative of bullshit in my head. And it's really hard to stay committed to it when 1 hour every day for 90 days, you go to a place where that kind of thinking is deconstructed. It's just like, that's bullshit. Those are lies. No. And for 90 straight days, I heard people share another way to think that's like expansive and forgiving and healing and hopeful. And again, it's not like I'm changed forever, but I can feel how dissatisfying my old thinking patterns are now, because I'm like, you guys aren't working. I know those voices and I'm familiar with them and I know how to feel when they talk shit to me, but now I'm just like uncomfortable with them because I've heard enough of a different neuro pathway that I could explore. So we'll see what comes of that. But that was my antidepressant, is completing 90 goddamn meetings in 90 days. That's so many days.
Marky, that is a massive commitment. I am
People
so
do it
glad
all
you're
the
proud of yourself.
time.
I'm proud. I'm impressed.
Thanks.
I'm inspired. And with everything you've had going on, to do that on top of it is I don't even know, man. I would give you a trophy right now if I could, you know?
I mean, I will say, like, Zoom, I've gone to at least one or two in-person meetings a week, but Zoom was transformative because I found these meetings in Paris and London and Ireland, which is amazing to hear people with accents talking at the crack of dawn, because I would often just knock them out first thing in the morning, which is a great way, what wound up being a great way for me for my negative thinking to have a seat in timeout, you know? So it's been fascinating. Really interesting 3 months. And what about you, friend? What was your antidepressant this week?
Well, one of them was talking with you earlier today, I have to say. It really shifted and moved me, and I appreciate you so much, and I appreciate your compassion and your kindness and your fucking wisdom. Your 90-90 was not in vain. It absolutely, you are walking the talk, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate your unconditional love for me so much. I felt very unburdened after I spoke with you. I felt returned to right size. The discomfort was still there, but the self-hatred and the judgment, the dirty shame was not. So that was one of them. Thank you. I want to give a shout out to my Vyvanse prescription because it's really been helping me stay focused. I want to give myself a shout out for deleting the Reddit app. I reserve the right to take occasional breaks on my laptop reading it. It's not satisfying, so I don't do it for a long time.
That's huge. I just hope
Yeah.
everyone understands, like, Ramona, like, Reddit was basically like an appendage it became a part of your
Oh
body.
my God, it
The
did.
fact that
It
you
did.
deleted it, not just removed from home screen, is like, my jaw hit the fucking floor. I had no idea.
Yeah.
And I literally think you should be the grand marshal of every parade in 2026 for doing this, even for 2 days. It's huge.
Thank you, friend. Yeah, it feels good. It feels good. Like yesterday when I went to delete it, or was it the day before? I can't remember, but in the last 48 hours, like talk to me in a week when I'm like, what is it called? Tying it off. Is that what you do to your arm when you want to shoot up? You know, I'm just like sweating, like, but we'll see. What I'm saying is like, it felt good on, you know, and then like cobbling together another hour or realizing after a chunk of time, oh my God, I haven't like lost an hour of my day to fucking doom scrolling.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a lot of feelings when I hit delete app, you know, and it's all, are you sure you're going to lose all your shit? And I'm like, fuck you, Apple. Yeah, I'm sure. Suck it.
Mm-hmm.
You're not the boss of me.
Well, and it's a vortex. It's like, it's not just the hour that I spend doom scrolling, it's the hours after where it's like haunting me and I'm ruminating. I have a porous brain for that shit. It really gets in there.
Yeah. And then, I mean, kind of similar to what you shared, you know, the timing is just never up to me. Things I've been wanting to work on that I've been avoiding working on. It's like I'm done. Like I can't go on that way anymore. And it's becoming clearer and clearer. And so even though I'm very uncomfortable, I'm not doing anything to run away from the discomfort. So while that might not sound like an antidepressant, it actually is because I feel free and unburdened, uncomfortable, sad, lots of feelings, but I feel hopeful because I'm not running. I felt hopeful after writing in my journal, even though nothing had changed. And so, yeah, that feels very good. I feel restored to sanity a little bit, and I'm also uncomfortable. So that's okay, though. That's okay.
They often seem to go hand in hand in the beginning.
Don't they?
Yeah.
Don't they? Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so used to hypervigilance and high alert and
Yes, dude.
self-loathing and like all the familiar things. So when when sanity enters, I'm like, who are you?
Yep.
Weirdo.
Shit is warm and soft, and that's why it's comfortable.
Yeah, man.
Oh my God. Oh, everyone, thank you so much for listening. That brings us to the end of this week's episode of A Therapeutic Dose. And it was so fun to chat with you, friend. And it was fun to chat with you earlier today. And I love you so much.
I love you too.
We love you all out there.
Indeed.
Take good care of yourselves. Again, remember, you're not Lisa Barlow and you're not Meredith Marks either.
The bar is low, people. Congratulations. We're all clearing it for today.
Oh
Good on
my
us.
God.
And everybody
Show
just,
some compassion to your waiters this week. They
Truly,
don't want
they
to
didn't-
interrupt a gnarly conversation.
No, and they didn't choose that outfit, okay?
Oh, my
They got the
God.
job and they were handed a gross, dumb apron and they have to wear it.
I just felt it was just a lot. It was just conveying a lot to me. It was conveying a lot. It was triggering my judgment, and it was triggering my lack of appreciation for hipster doofus restaurants in San Francisco
Yeah.
or Portland, for that matter. Anyway, enough of my bloviating. All right, everyone. We will talk to you next week. Bye,
Take
friend.
good
I
care
love
of
you.
yourselves. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Ramona and Margie are, obviously, not doctors and do not provide medical advice. Their content is intended to be used for entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to be, should not be interpreted as, or used as a substitute for medical advice or a diagnosis of any health or fitness problem, condition, or disease, nor a recommendation for a specific test, doctor, care provider, procedure, treatment plan, product, or course of action.
My mom isn't a doctor.